Amazon just put everyone on notice. Rebates are toxic.
Welcome to the Post-Purchase Pro podcast.
This is the only podcast that dives deep into post-purchase marketing to help Amazon sellers increase sales, ranking, reviews, and profits. It's everything that happens after the initial sale that makes a difference. We call this the back end. This is the Post-Purchase Pro podcast, episode 17, how to avoid the Amazon rebate slap and not get your seller account flagged.
So you guys, welcome to the Post-Purchase Pro podcast, episode 17. It's kind of a ground-shaking news that we all knew was coming for the last several years, right? Amazon just turned off a bunch of the big rebate players in the space. Rebate Key, they just announced, will no longer have access to their API, meaning Amazon is finally making a public crackdown on rebates. I think it's been a long time coming, right? I mean, it's surprising that rebates have been so public and so in your face for so long. Literally, people are using rebates to manipulate the entire platform, and Amazon has basically turned a blind eye to it. But now they finally come out and said, you know, guys, if you're doing rebates in a big way, if you're using our API to run rebates, we're not going to have it. So I think this is a good move for Amazon, because it finally says Amazon's going to level the playing field and only support real business for real transactions. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right there, buddy. When rebate launches or something like that comes out, we often kind of like whisper around, and then we realize, like, you know what, if everyone knew about this, it's probably not going to work anymore. So tactics are different, than strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy for me is more of a long-term plan, leaning on more of the fundamentals in your business versus trying to move a mountain by leveraging some crazy tactic that someone come up with. Not to say, Seth, that they're not effective, because you and I have both used rebates and launched several products, but it's just one of those things that chances are, if it feels just a little bit dirty, it probably is. And Amazon's smarter than we give them credit for, right? So they're going to put the brakes on something like this pretty quick. And, this is just another reason, Seth, that we need to stay on top of our industry and find out what's working right now, because the tactics that worked yesterday, last year, last month may or may not work tomorrow or next week. In fact, if we go way back to late 2013, early 14, when we started on Amazon, we don't use any of those same tactics that we used at that point in time, because then it was a totally different game. It was a totally different landscape, a totally different culture. Now, Amazon and selling on Amazon as a third-party seller is more, I want to call it technical is the term I'm looking for. You have to be technical, but at the same time, Seth, we have to stay focused on the fundamentals of building a real business. And this is just another one of those reasons why we need to keep our finger on the pulse and figure out what's working in our industry. And more importantly, what could get you slapped by Amazon, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Basically, Amazon just put everyone on notice. Rebates are toxic, right? And I think it's actually a good move for a lot of sellers, because people don't realize how smart and advanced Amazon is. They can see all those transactions. They know that the buyers that are getting rebates are not actual buyers. They can see those transactions. You probably didn't know this, but if you get too many reviews from rebate buyers, they know that, and they'll actually suppress where you show up in the search results. That means that literally, by getting more reviews from the wrong people, you actually get lower sales, because Amazon knows it. So taking this ability away actually is a good move long term for a lot of sellers, because they were putting themselves at risk and they didn't even know it. So it's just not the right way to do business anymore. Like you said, Sean, 2014, 2015, 2016 even, you could do a lot of different things, and different tactics work. But now it seems like the people that really can hone in and focus on doing the fundamentals consistently and doing the work to get traffic to their listing, while it may not be, the quick hit of revenue today, in 6 months, a year down the line, it actually pays off way, way bigger. So what do you think, Sean?
It's those tiny seeds that we plant every day in our business. It's like what you're calling the boring work sometimes, right?
Yeah.
The tactics are cool, but they're always changing. We must focus on the fundamentals in this business, Seth, or in any other business, because the fundamentals will never change. You know, if you're in the game of providing value in exchange for money, which is exactly what we do on Amazon, then you have to focus on the foundation of your business. So I want to put you on the spot just a little bit here, Seth. I heard you talking about how in the very near future you're going to make it available for folks to get kind of a grade, like a scorecard, if you will, on certain buyers on Amazon so that you can weed out those bad players. Where can you give me a URL here, even if it doesn't exist yet, where folks can go get a little bit more information or sign up for the waiting list to get access to that software that you and the team are working on? Because I'm excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're working on is a way that you can get access to the data behind the scenes of what's actually happening, like to look into who your customer is. So, you know, we all get thousands of transactions over the years where we have customers buying stuff from us. And we ask them, hey, come back and leave us a review. We really kind of treat them all the same because from a seller's perspective in general, it all kind of looks like just revenue and order IDs, doesn't it? So, but what actually is happening is Amazon can peer behind those order IDs. They know the transaction history of each and every one of those buyers. Just like you say, Sean, do you think that Amazon knows everything that you've purchased over the lifetime of your account? Of course they do. So what we're actually doing is putting together a system where you can say, hey, this buyer is a good quality buyer. They actually make legitimate transactions and they're additive to our business because it helps us rank. And Amazon views that as a legit, real transaction. But what if, you know, out of the millions of people who have done business with Rebate Key, for instance, now that you have the rebate slap, what if you're getting Rebate Key buyers buying your product? Now, Amazon knows that they're linked to, you know, thousands of other buyers that are doing this manipulative thing, and they're not giving those buyers credit for the purchase, and you're not getting any ranking benefit. And if that buyer comes back and leaves you a review, it actually looks like manipulation. So you're putting your seller account at risk, and you are suppressing your ranking, so you get less traffic. So basically, what we're doing is we are working to show you where you have risk in your orders, and a lot of people wouldn't even think about that you have a risk in your orders, but you do. So if you could know that these customers are risky and they shouldn't be asked for a review because they're actually flagged internally, that would be really, really strong. So what we're actually putting together is a way for you to see in a database format, you know, which of your customers are good to do business with, which of them are real buyers, which of them have been flagged internally, and what you can do with all of that. So if you'd like to see or get access to that tool that we're working on, or if you're interested to learn more, then go to postpurchasepro.com/grading, like grading your listing. So GRADING. So grading your listing, postpurchasepro.com/grading, and you'll be able to learn more about that.
So basically, if I go to postpurchasepro.com/grading, then I'll be able to sign up to gain access as soon as access is available on
Right.
what do you call it when you launch this new product? Help me.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
The beta version. When the
Yeah.
beta version is available for me to get the scorecard or the report card, if you will, for my customer, I can sign up for that. It's not available right now, Seth, but when it does become available in the beta version, I will be top of the list. Is that what you're saying at postpurchasepro.com/grading?
Yep, exactly. So just put your email in there and we'll notify you when this comes out. But this is really, really important because we're using this behind the scenes now just to make sure that we're weeding out the bad apples. If you'd like to have access to that when we have it ready, which should be in the near future, just put your email in there and we'll shoot you an email when it's ready.
This is a game changer, guys, because, you know, if you can, like Seth said, weed out the bad actors and only do business going forward with those real Amazon buyers who are not trying to manipulate the system to get you slapped by Amazon, then I mean, this makes all the difference in the world, Seth. So thank you for
Yeah.
making that available, and go get signed up for it. That way, when it becomes public, you'll be the first to know if you're on that waiting list.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, Sean, we always talk about the fundamentals are key. It's they're enough to build a massive business. Amazon is a huge opportunity, and if you can just do what you always call the boring work, or the work that you hate to constantly, just feel like you're doing the same things over and over, but as long as you see it working, just stick with it, because over a longer period of time, you will win. I can promise you. We built an entire business doing more than $1 million per month on Amazon, and it took us less than 2 years. But a lot of sellers can't focus for 2 years. You got to focus on the fundamentals and stick with it, John.
Right. So basically, Seth, if you can control the story, if you will, the story with your customer, this would allow you to avoid falling victim to these so-called Amazon slaps from time to time. And by having these boring customer lists, this will effectively allow you to rank your own products with your list instead of depending
Yeah.
on someone else's list of bad actors leaving some toxic footprint on the Amazon
Mhm.
platform. Is that fair?
Yeah, so building a customer list, engaging your real customers, providing more value will always be real ways that real businesses grow their revenue profitably. So just like what you were saying, instead of using fake transactions or a fake buyer list, which are basically rebates, just launch to your own group of real customers. And a lot of sellers just don't understand the buttons or the pieces in place to make that all happen.
Yeah, we're all, as entrepreneurs, we're all looking for an easy button or a shortcut or something to circumvent all the hard work. But at the end of the day, those tactics usually blow up in our face. So
Yeah.
I like to use it just as much as you do, Seth, and a lot of our audience and our community use those. But at the same time, you have to be focused on long-term goals, and that is building a real business that is, using the fundamentals that we talk about and we teach with the post-purchase podcast. But more importantly, number one is having a customer list. You have to have a customer list. Without a customer list, you're dead in the water, just depending on the whims of Amazon. It's like Seth waking up unemployed every morning and hoping that Uncle Jeffy sends you a little bit of traffic to survive.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're right, Sean. Rebates at the end of the day are just fake transactions. They aren't real customers that are actually seeing enough value in your product to offer to pay you money for that value. There's not an actual transaction. It's literally you're incentivizing them so you can manipulate Amazon so then you can get real transactions later. Why don't you just focus on getting the real transactions and building the real customer list, and you can skip the shady step of manipulation. Yes, it'll take a couple months longer, but your business is built on a great foundation. And at the end of the day, just like this, if you're doing these, semi-shady tactics, like just relying on rebates, then what happens if Amazon pulls that tactic away or says, everyone that's been doing this, that's all linked together, everyone shut down at the same time? So that's a big risk. If you just were a little bit more patient and invested into your business with a little bit of work, then I think you're going to be a lot happier and you're going to make a lot more money over the long haul.
I remember, Seth, when my pal Jason Fladlien launched his book, One to Many, which is back there somewhere. So he sent me the very first hardcover book of it, right? He wrote something in there. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go leave this guy an amazing review. I'm not a reviewer, buddy. I hate leaving reviews. I think it's a waste of time. But he actually wrote in the cover, this is the first edition of the hardcover. So I went and left a review. I could not get the review to stick. I did it again and again and again. And based on my toxic history of being a bad apple, I
Yep.
could not get the review to stick no matter what I did. So, I think Abraham Lincoln said it. I won't swear to it, one of my favorite presidents, but says you can fool all of the people some of the time and some of the people all the time. But you know what, Seth? You can't ever fool everyone forever. It's time to move on, guys. Stop relying on these tricks. Let's just do what really works long term, yes, it's boring. Yes, it's a lot of work. And in most cases, it's not fun. All right. But what's more important to you? Is it the work, the journey, or the destination, Seth?
Well, if you can get okay with the journey, then the destination will take care of itself, won't it?
Right on.
So guys, we love to end with action. So let's end with some actionable things that you guys as Amazon sellers can do instead of using rebates in your businesses right now to make a big difference. Start it off, Sean.
All right. So, number one, 3 things that you can do right now instead of rebate launch. First and foremost, start building a list of your customers that you can use for marketing and launches instead of using someone else's list that thousands of other sellers are using. I know that doesn't sound sexy, all right? And most of us start with 0 customers. But 1 customer on a customer list is better than none. You know, soon you have 10, then you have 100, then you have 1,000 customers. And honestly, we work with sellers all over the globe who have just, 1,500, 2,000 customers on a list, which doesn't sound all that exciting, but those 2,000 customers are rabid fans of their brand and their product and actually look forward to doing more business with them. And they're able to grow on demand, launching products to their own list without ever leaving that so-called toxic footprint on Amazon. Start building a customer list. There are several ways to do it. If you follow our podcast, we give you a lot of tidbits and gold nuggets on how you can get started with a customer list. This is not the appropriate podcast for that, but search in our episodes about building a customer list because there's so many ways to do it, Seth. It's hard to get started, but once you get the momentum moving, it's almost impossible to stop it. What's something else that we can do immediately?
Yeah, just to kind of add something on to what you were saying, when we talk about building a customer list, we're talking about building a list of people that actually want to buy your product, not that you're giving it away to. We're not suggesting that you build your own customer list so you can do rebates and give your product away and manipulate the system in that way. We're talking about people that actually want to buy your product. So add more value so they come to you and want to be a part of your customer list. That's what Sean's talking about. Item number 2 for taking action that you can do right now to make a big difference instead of focusing on giving your product away with rebates is to actually care about the review system and the review follow-up you have in place for your business. So reviews are more important than ever. Like I said earlier, Amazon is actually suppressing the ranking of listings that are getting reviews by suspect buyers. So if your go-to method for getting reviews is to ask a small group of people, whether that be friends and family or a bigger group that like a rebate group or something like that, then those reviews are getting linked together, and then Amazon is actually moving your listing down the page in terms of ranking. So you're not helping yourself in any way. So if you've lost a lot of traffic recently, then it could just be because the people that you're asking to give you reviews aren't actually able to leave a review that Amazon rewards for. So one of the things you can do to help with that is to have the automated system set up to where basically now the best way to ask for a review is to have Amazon do it for you on your behalf. So if you went to your Seller Central and you clicked on a random order ID and it was eligible at the time, then there's a button in there that says request a review from that customer. But there are softwares that will automate that for you. So it'll look at it and say, is this customer eligible to leave a review? And it'll ping the API, and Amazon will actually send the message themselves for you asking for that review. And the review rates on that email that Amazon sends are way, way higher than you're ever going to get sending your own internal Amazon messaging. So make sure you have that set up. You can do that with a lot of different softwares. Just look up like automation for review ask through Amazon. Managed by Stats has it. A lot of different softwares have it, but get that set up if you don't already have that. All of your orders should be having that function where Amazon's asking for the review for them. Sean, what's number 3?
Very solid advice, Seth. All right, number 3, pay for some traffic. I know you don't want to spend any money on traffic, but just pay for traffic until you own your own traffic via customer list. Now, when you do this through sponsored ads, for example, only target the top 3 keywords that are most important to you when launching. Why? So that you can concentrate your traffic where it's most important, okay? So only the top 3 pay for the traffic. Remember, once Amazon sends you the traffic, then it's up to you to re-engage, build a customer list, and therefore long-term business plan. So we would love to hear your comments on this episode. We are now putting this on YouTube, so you can just do a search for Post Purchase Pro on YouTube. There'll be a link to it in the show notes, as well as a link to our Facebook page, which would be facebook.com/Post Purchase Pro. Makes sense? And they'll also be in the show notes. I'll also have the URL where you can get early access when it's available to Seth's Amazon customer grading platform, which is going to be amazing. Seth?
Yeah, exactly. So guys, if you liked this episode, please take 30 seconds and leave us a review. I know it's a huge pain, but it really will help us be able to grow and reach more sellers. And then the more sellers that we're able to help, the better information we're able to bring back to you. So if you don't want to miss any of these episodes every week, then make sure you're subscribed. So guys, I'm Seth Stevens, along with my co-host Sean Hart. This has been the Post Purchase Pro podcast, episode number 17. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.